well remembered.
All right, perfect. Guys, I'm going to start. I know everyone's schedules are super busy in November. So very big thank you for all joining. And thanks for being here to watch our famous South African Vanessa Rath. So I went to, obviously I know Van quite well, but I went to go and get some research on her. I thought I was going to do a bit of stalking. So to give you an idea on Van, so obviously we all was a teacher back in the day. Sorry, wrong button. She was a teacher. She was a scuba diver instructor. She worked at Kelly Recruitment. And for those that don't know, they used to have a millionaires club at Kelly, and Vanessa is one of them, which means she recruited within an annual year over R1 million in revenue. So she was a very good recruiter. Went to go internal, and then has been running Talent Hunter for the last 4 years. She's a speaker at SourceCon. She has got 549 recommendations on LinkedIn. It's ridiculous. Yeah, 549. I went to go and have a look. So guys, we are in amazing hands. She is doing some phenomenal stuff with AI and making sure that recruitment specifically in South Africa is in the international stage. She speaks highly of South Africa. She's proudly South African. So we're very proud of what she's doing and what she's saying across the world. So we're very excited to have her. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We are recording this session if you do need to get called out for an interview or something funny. But Van, I'm going to hand over to you and tell us all about the AI. I'm super excited to hear all about it. Guys, just one thing, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat and we'll do them right at the end. But Van's going to talk for about 20-25 minutes.
Awesome. So first of all, hey everyone, how you doing? Apologies for this ghastly echo, but if those of you who've been following me on social media, we've just moved and I have nothing in this room besides a very big beanbag behind me. So apologies about that. Husband is back tomorrow, and when the Shells arrive on the weekend, it's his first task of many, may I add in. So guys, Job Crystal, thanks for hosting me. Thanks for setting up this webinar. I'm always happy to chat about AI because it always means that I go and sharpen my skills. So before we get started, for those of you who don't know me, quick introduction. I'm a global talent sourcing trainer. I train teams all over the world. I absolutely love what I do. It's been a really, really busy year this year. And like most South Africans, I'm sure that you're all looking forward to the break in December, January. Actually so busy that I built an online academy at the beginning of this year. A lot of the names I'm recognizing of people who've been through my academy, so good to see you. And it's been really awesome. I've loved it. It's freed up other time for me to do things like run my AI workshops, which have been really, really good. I also do a lot of consulting in this space. At the moment, I'm actually consulting with a company about their digital marketing strategy, which I never thought that I would do, but apparently that's a skill that I have, and I'm really enjoying that. So at the moment, we're on the garden route. I'm in Plet. My ADHD came with me, so ADHD is still my superpower, much to my husband's despair, but here we both are sitting in Plet and really enjoying it. So side hustles, I do a lot of keynote speaking. I've actually just been lining up some travels for next year. So far, it looks like I'm going to be in Turkey, Spain, and Colombia. So that's going to be really interesting. So looking forward to that. So guys, let's get started on AI. Before we do that, I just want to just let you know, I've got 2 channels I'm really pushing at the moment, the Facebook group. So Sash, if you can do me a favor, drop in the group chat the link to the Facebook group and my YouTube channel. There's lots of things coming up next year that are going to really push those. I'm really excited about, and I can't share too much just yet. But let's get started on AI. So as most of you know, I have a pretty average sense of humor. I like a meme, I like a GIF, and it's the way that I communicate best. So you can expect a lot of them in this presentation. Now, when I started playing with AI, I actually started playing around with image generators. I'm very much a visual learner. I can't handle big blocks of text. And I started probably in about January. So this year I came back from leave and I thought, let me get stuck into a little bit of AI. And I played around with a tool that was available at the moment, at that time, which was actually DALL-E 2. Now, DALL-E 2 has now become DALL-E 3, but I actually want to show you the difference. This is a prompt that I put in probably about March into an image generator. And it was a giraffe and a zebra in watercolor. So funny results, like looks like the giraffe's walking past a window, zebra's got like a questionably long neck. It was all right, but it did it. And it was a completely unique image that had been generated for me. I didn't go and have to get it off Google. So this is where I started learning about prompts. Look at this prompt. And this is what I really want to get across to you guys today. If you remember anything from today's session, it is the importance of your prompts. Because look at the better prompt. I want an oil painting portrait of a rodent wearing medieval royal robes and an ornate crown on a dark background. And look what I came up with. Exactly what I asked for. You go back to this one over here. It's a pretty shitty prompt. I didn't put too much effort into it. A giraffe and a zebra in watercolor, and that's what the result is. Okay, you with me? So prompting is really, really important. And I actually use the images to explain this a lot better. Now, welcome to DALL-E 3. So generative AI is just improving at a rapid rate. So first of all, I'm pretty proud of this prompt that I wrote it, okay? And this is the result that came up. How epic is this image though? So this is where we're at now. So you can take the information that I'm giving you now and you can relate that to things like ChatGPT and text. It's learning, it's getting better if our prompts are better. Let me give you another example. Thank you, Charlotte. I did this one for a post that I did on LinkedIn where I took my LinkedIn kind of profile write-up. I wrote it like a pirate. I posted it on LinkedIn. I don't know if anyone remembers, or maybe you don't read my LinkedIn post, which is fair enough. And I needed a graphic to go with it. And it was, I needed business folks sitting around a boardroom table dressed as pirates in the style of digital art. So I thought that was a good prompt back then, okay? That's what I came up with. But look at the guys' faces. Not great. The AI hasn't quite got there. So what I did was I actually went and put in the same prompt about 2 weeks ago before I ran this workshop, just before I left Joburg. And now look at the results that are popping up. So again, guys, the better prompt, you can see I've improved. I wish I could write my own school report. Vanessa has improved this year because that was never on my school report. But my prompting's got better, but also the results of what are coming up in the prompting have got better. So I'm going to explain to you where I generated these soon. And then I actually just for shits and giggles this morning, you can see 10 to 7 this morning, I was playing around on DALL-E 3 and I did also a zebra and giraffe and watercolor, and look at that, way better. Okay, so I'm learning, generative AI is learning, it's all happening here, folks. So there are lots of tools for you to go and play with image generators. I love playing with them. If you want to go and follow someone really interesting on Facebook, Irina Shemeva, who I met for the first time now at Sourcing Summit in Amsterdam. Let me just spell that properly. Has actually started a Facebook profile called The Prompter, and she puts up her artwork from image generators. Absolutely incredible. So guys, generative AI is here to stay. It all started in January. It was here with a bang, and you can see the results here coming from LinkedIn CEO about how the impact has been. I mean, now there's been an increase 21 times the number of postings that people are putting up that require generative AI, ChatGPT. There's 9 times increase in the people who are adding generative AI, ChatGPT as their skills. But we don't have to worry just yet because 72% of people say that soft skills are still stronger than AI skills. So it's going to flip, but at the moment we are all fine. So let's talk about ChatGPT. I'm sure that's what you thought about when you saw there was going to be a workshop on AI today, and we are going to go there because it's become a buzzword. It's kind of like Google. If you want to go and find something out, you go Google it because Google was first to market. You don't go Bing it. You don't go DuckDuckGo it, right? And that's what OpenAI did. So OpenAI is a company that owns ChatGPT. So that's why everyone talks about ChatGPT, because they were the first to launch in November last year. Now, the key thing that most people already know about ChatGPT is there's a free version and there's a paid for version. Now, as South Africans don't like to pay for anything, right? Well, I don't. I mean, because rands don't go far. So a lot of you are using the free version. I must admit, I have been paying for the paid version of ChatGPT, mainly because I've run so many workshops and I couldn't be running workshops with ChatGPT saying to me, we're sorry, the server is busy at the moment. I mean, people have paid for you to deliver a workshop in 2 hours, that's all you have. And only in the last, let's go back 4 weeks, have I thought, this is why I've been paying for this tool. because paying for it, and it's a princely sum of, I think, $20 a month, it's about 350 Rand, doesn't really come into its own. So those of you who are serious about ChatGPT, learning how to use it better, now I recommend go and pay for it, because there's so much stuff that you can do that you can't on the free version. And I think that that was their market plan to begin with. But if you look at the growth of ChatGPT, it's been epic. I mean, they got to 1 million users in 5 days. So that just shows you, like, the world was ready. We've known about AI for a long time, and now it is here. I see people still arriving. We should get late people to like sing a song or something. But guys, check out this. So ChatGPT, 5 days to 1 million users. Threads comes a couple of months later and literally kicks it in the butt. 1 hour to get 1 million users, because they were smart and they were obviously linked with Instagram being a product coming out of the Meta stable. So yeah, just some interesting facts. Now, a lot of you as recruiters contact me and are like, Van, you know, are we going to lose our jobs? Is AI going to take our jobs? And I keep saying, no, it's going to really enhance the fact that you're going to bring your human to your job. So don't stress yet. But a lot of people are also really concerned about, where am I going to find people with AI and ChatGPT skills? Now, this actually gives me a lot of like solace around where am I going to find them? Because if you look at the Udemy courses at the moment, everyone's on there learning how to use ChatGPT better. From a personal perspective, a lot of you know, I finished last year with burnout in December. It was awful. So I thought this year I'm going to change things up. I'm going to get a virtual assistant because I just can't do everything. Well, ChatGPT has become my virtual assistant. So being able to use it correctly, I actually haven't needed to bring anybody else into the business. And that's what I encourage you to do, is to figure out, how do you use it? You know, we're a fan of Hung Lee. I'm going to be also presenting at Recruiters Unite in March. Guys, be there. Conference in Cape Town. It'll be lovely to see all of you there. And he says that, imagine us as recruiters didn't use the internet. Like, us South Africans get it. Like, load shedding hits and your laptop becomes as useful as like a doorstop, right? What can you do? So you've got power, but without the internet these days, you can't do a thing. So this is where Hung is likening it to that, be an early adopter. So learn how to use generative AI, because it is here to stay and it will really, really assist you to do better. So to compare ChatGPT and Google, and we're going to jump into ChatGPT now, I liken it to this. If you go to Google and you type in a question, it comes up with pages and pages of results, right? So it basically says, these are websites where you could go and find the results. If you do the same in the ChatGPT, what you are going to be doing is you then are going to get the exact answer. Now, whether that exact answer is correct or not is still debatable. Again, it's learning, it's getting better, right? But we do need to go and fact check what is actually being generated. So is ChatGPT going to kill Google? Definitely not. There's still a space for both, 100%. But Google has come up with their own version of ChatGPT, and it's called Bard. I don't know if anyone's heard of Bard, but that is their version. Okay, so before we jump in, generative is because the information is generated. ChatGPT has got a large language model, or an LLM. It's been fed information from websites, books, PDF. It has a whole knowledge bank. It's been pre-trained by humans, so that humans have worked the algorithm, help the results come up in something that humans can understand, and it's all stored in code. So the T for transformer comes in where the code is transformed into something that we can read. So if you want to sound intelligent, that is what GPT stands for. So I'm seeing a lot of people using ChatGPT at the moment, and this is why we're going to come back to the prompting, because if we get better at our prompting, we're going to be using ChatGPT a lot better. So how I'm seeing people using ChatGPT in the recruitment space: competitor analysis, research, writing role descriptions, interview questions, adverts, summarizing documents. So if you are using it for anything else, pop it into the chat. Let's have a look and see how you guys are using ChatGPT at the moment. Those are just some of the ways. And one thing to highlight before we go, and blog ideas is a great one. To highlight before we go and look at ChatGPT, is that ChatGPT is your starting point. Should never be your ending point. So you always need to edit before you put something out there that you are passing off as your own. So let's go and have a look. This is the free version of OpenAI's ChatGPT. Anyone can go and sign up and open a free account. It's literally chat.openai.com. So I'm going to stick around on the free version for in the meantime. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give you a couple of examples over here of how you could be using it. So blog ideas. So let's have a look at how we could generate blog ideas. You could say here, I need a series of 3 blogs around recruitment in Cape Town. Give me some topics. Okay. So something like that, you can type in your questions and you can see how quickly it comes up with the topics over here that you could then take and put into a blog. It hasn't written the blog for you. So instead of actually getting it to write the blog for me and then passing it off as my own, what I generally do is I would say, take point 1 and give me the framework for a 2,000 word blog. Okay, so if you ask it for a framework, it will give you what you can include without actually writing it for you. Okay, which is a really interesting way of looking at it, because you also don't want to be relying too much on ChatGPT, getting it to generate things. I am going to show you how you can detect whether people have used ChatGPT. So there's lots of different ways that you can use it. Now, I want to quickly give you a glimpse into the paid-for version, because a lot of people aren't using the paid-for version. I'm going to show you some of the requests that I've actually been feeding into it today. So, for example, there is a sous chef. So in ChatGPT 4, you can see they've got little headings now. So sous chef. So I said, I want some recipes. I'm a vegetarian. These are the foods I like to eat. And it's coming up with recipes over here. And you can actually communicate with it and say, like over here, it said, would you like a visual representation of this dish before we proceed? And there we go. There is the dish that it is generated for me. So it's much more conversational. You've got different headings. You also, I was trying to get it to generate Black Friday images. So DALL-E 3 is now combined in the paid-for version of GPT-4, and you can see the images that it now can create. Okay, so there's lots of different benefits of using and paying for GPT-4. Now, just some other things just to quickly show you. Bard has got a really good ChatGPT or generative AI tool. So here we go. We can see it over here. I'm going to actually come up with a prompt, and I'm going to say, write an outreach email to a candidate in finance who you would like to work in your company, a large bank in South Africa. Okay, and then I always give it restrictions. So make it 300 words. And we're going to start with that because I want to show you something. So if I go and take exactly the same prompt and I put it into Bard, I can also go and put it into another version that I like to use. So I generally stay away from Edge, because it makes my blood pressure go up. But I'm going to use it over here. And there we go. I'm putting in exactly the same prompt over here, just to show you why it's difficult. It's easier to, it's not that easy to detect it, because everyone's coming up with different ideas. So let's let that one run over there. And another one that I'm actually really enjoying at the moment is something called Perplexity AI, which is really good. And the reason why I like it is it prompts you a little bit further down. So here we go. Here is their outreach mail. Now, what I see a lot of people doing is copying and pasting this and then putting it in a Word document and working on it. And I'm like, wow, okay, stay in the tool, stay in the generative AI tool and keep prompting. So let's go and let me just hide this over here. Right. Okay, so let's go into Bard. And there we go. It says candidate name. You can now go and prompt it, and you could say, add the candidate's name as Vanessa. Okay. And what it's doing is where it's put those brackets, I can go and populate it with information. But if I had written a better prompt and I had included that up front, I wouldn't have to keep prompting it. Does that make sense? So it's come up with a lot of the information that I need. They've all written, outreach emails. I would still go and prompt for more personalization. Let's go and see what Bing came up with. There we go. Bing's a little bit slower, but I must admit, Microsoft is doing good things in the AI space. I shouldn't speak badly about them. And here is where I start adding in my personalization. So add in that we have an amazing pedal team, and we are looking for new members. Okay, so here I'm prompting, but I'm prompting to get that personalization in place. Okay, so the more that I prompt over here, the better the results that are going to come out. So keep prompting, but again, your better prompts, you're not sitting around waiting for it to generate all of these things. Just at that point over there, I just want to find out, have we got any questions that have come in from anyone that I want to talk about this? Because I want to just go and dig a little bit deeper into prompts very quickly. So should we take any questions now, Sash?
There doesn't seem to be any at the moment in the chat, but if anybody wants to write one or unmute yourself and please ask, we're happy to take any of them.
Everyone's a bit bored.
I don't think so. I think they're all very intrigued. It's interesting what people are using this for. So I liked Kate said targeting messages to specific generations of candidates. Like that would be quite interesting. I'm writing to a 20-year-old versus I'm writing to a 45-year-old.
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
See how they do. Amanda, I'd love to know what you're doing with the performance reviews. Is the ChatGPT performing the performance review?
I haven't seen the questions. I'm not actually keeping an eye on them too well.
No, hey, basically, when you have to write over 20 performance reviews, and it's just, yeah, you know what you want to say, but you need to kind of generate that prose, and perhaps then, so that your hands fall off, then you can just do some editing afterwards, right? So that's mainly, I think this year, everyone really took advantage of that. But I was going to ask you, Van, in the questions, just, have you attempted now to create your own GPT?
So I can, because I've got obviously the paid for version. I believe the paid for version, they've actually now put a stop to it because the demand's been huge to create your own GPT. What I spent a large part of this morning doing is actually populating a chatbot for my website. So it's quite interesting doing that exercise and then thinking about doing the GPT. So not yet, but I probably will look into that.
Just for funsies. I'll also try play around with that.
Just for fun. Cool, excellent. Just another thing that I want to talk about, your performance review. So as Sasha mentioned, that I'm a teacher. Obviously, I've kept in contact with a lot of my friends that I studied with. Do you know how many people I've taught how to use ChatGPT to write school reports? So those of you with kids,
so yeah. We do have one question. So Tracy says, you said you don't edit in Word. When you work on it, does it date it for you? And can you go and use the same one again, or do you have to save it the old way?
So on GPT, it saves all of your conversations for you. So that's good. And if I'm not really a massive fan of Word. So if I am going to save, it's probably going to be on OneNote, but I don't generally tend to save anything anyway, to be honest, because it's always constantly changing. And one quick thing I do want to show you over here, which is quite a new thing, and I'll go back to other version of ChatGPT. Okay, let me just do that. Let's do a new chat. Let me change back to 3.5. Is even on the free version, what you can do, and this is new, is if you click on your name at the bottom left-hand corner over here, you'll see you've got custom instructions. Okay, so on your custom instructions, you can say things like, I prefer natural phrasing. I don't like very marketing pushy approaches. And you can actually program it so that it sounds more like you. And this has had a big impact for me. I know I'm pretty unique in the way that I speak, and it has kind of responded. If any of you are on my mailing list, you got my email about Black Friday special on Friday. That was done very much in conjunction with this. Okay.
That's a very cool feature. I haven't even seen that. Very cool.
Very cool. Very cool, and making a big difference. So, and I think other generative AI will go the same thing. Okay, the same way. But just a couple of things that I want to touch on quickly is generative AI is also prone to things like it's got poor math skills. Like I thought mine were bad, and jeepers, you try and do quite a bit of maths and it doesn't work it out. But ChatGPT is actually very much a people pleaser. So if it doesn't know something, it's actually just going to have a guess. So it's good to go and play around, and it will answer with complete certainty, and you can always go back and challenge it. It's also prone to something called hallucinations, which again, I put down to being a people pleaser, where if it doesn't know the answer, what it's going to do is it's going to take a guess at the answer. And then what's popping up not as frequently now that I'm paying for GPT-4, we obviously spend a lot more time in, is the out-of-date data. So you will all remember, or you might still be seeing, I've only been programmed up until September 2021 or whenever it is, and I can't give you that information. Okay, now the plugins that you got, like the chef that I was asking about, the recipes and things like that, that actually gets away with the out-of-date data because that is up to date. But ChatGPT isn't going to solve all of your problems. I want you to really think about it like this before we dive into the better prompts, is that instead of sitting with like a blank piece of paper, use ChatGPT to like generate something as a starting point for you. Like I showed you in the blog, give me a framework. So I know what's out there. I know where I can kind of get started. I know what I can write. Don't let it write for you and then pass it off as your own. Or write something, pop it into ChatGPT and say, make this sound more professional, or add this into it. So always try and do some of the work, even if it's at the beginning of your task or towards the end of your task. It's not very good if you ask it to do something end to end. I hope that makes sense. Okay. But I want to quickly highlight the prompts and look at the prompts before I go and show you some nice AI software that is out there. And I wanted you to kind of like you to think about how you're going to get a better result from generative AI by writing a better prompt. So some things to think about is like, not everyone, well, I certainly wish I had more time to do this, is going to go and play with every generative AI tool. They are literally coming out like tsunamis at the moment. Like, it's pointless going to learn how to use every single tool. You've got to sit back and think, okay, what is happening that is giving me a headache? I don't like doing it. It's very admin intensive. How can I use ChatGPT to fix that? I was on a call last night to the States to a client, and they were saying that they've got so much content, which they've recorded webinars, but now they need to take that information off YouTube and they need to summarize it for their Substack. Now, there's a tool that does that. So there's a tool where you can copy and paste a YouTube video, stick it into this AI tool, and what it does is it summarizes the information for you. Now, that is a complete win because he's not now watching the content and then summarizing it for his newsletter. There's tools that can do that. So you've got to sit back and think, I don't need to solve all the world's problems. Like, I'm not going to use ChatGPT to solve like world peace or, you know, those kind of things. But what is my problem and how can I use it? So basically, you've got to start with a clear objective. I'm going to the market. I'm going to look at AI tools. I'm going to do free trials because I need to do X. Second thing, you've got to break down the tasks and the prompts because you can't overload it. It's a little bit like me. If you're speaking to me and you ask me 3 questions in one, I'm going to remember the last question. Or I'm going to fixate on the first question. I'm not going to get the last 2. So it's a little bit like you need to break down your prompts into bite-sized pieces so that it can do maybe different sections of a task. So I started off with blog topics. Then I said, give me the framework. Then after that, I would have said, expand on maybe point 1. Also, you've got to review, shorten, and sharpen the prompt. So your prompt could always be better. So a good thing that I actually ask when I'm prompting is, ask me 3 questions that will show me that you understand what I have asked you to do. Okay, which makes it come back to me and ask me a question. I'm like, well, isn't that obvious? And then clearly it's not obvious. Okay, so that's a good question to ask. And then once you've run your prompt, you need to evaluate it. You know, what's the result like? Could you have done it better? So that leads me on to this. So this is an amazing prompting framework that I use when I'm really want to get a good result. Like those images that I showed you, they were using these prompts. So you start with simulating a persona. So Sasha, as you alluded to earlier, I'm reaching out to a 20-year-old developer. I want them to join a funky startup, make sure that they speak the same language kind of thing. Then write your task. What do you want it to achieve? Then what are the steps, because we've got to break it down, to complete the task? You've got to give it context and constraints. Like the constraint is, I mean, I'm so glad ChatGPT isn't one of my friends because they're so verbose. They take forever to say anything. Like tell it you want 3,000 words or 300 words or whatever it is that you're looking for. So those constraints are important. Specify the goal. Like, why are we doing this? What is the goal? And then format your output. Okay? So format by prompting before you take it off into like a Word document, and then that's your final kind of copy. So a real life example. Let's have a look at this. So you're a recruiter, you've got 10 years experience in the tech industry. Your task is to create a technical assessment for a Python engineer. The assessment should cover the following topics. So this is breaking down the tasks. Then, and you do this all on one kind of prompt. I'll show you how it works now. Give it context and its restraints. So I'm giving it a time limit. The types of questions I want: long answer, short answer, multiple choice. So what you're seeing now is that you need to put a lot more effort into your prompts, because if you put in a short prompt, you're going to get not such a good result. So these prompts are now taking me longer, but the results are better. So specify your goal. What are the clear instructions? How's it going to be graded? And then the output. What is the output? What are we looking for? So once you've stipulated all of these things, and this framework can literally be, you can go and take it into any kind of prompt. I'm going to take exactly this prompt over here, and let's go into a generative AI. We're on the free version. I always like to go and start a bit of a new chat, because then what happens is, come on, over here. Because if I'm starting a new chat, it's not like a conversation that is continuing on a previous kind of vein. So there's my prompt. I've taken it, I've put it in, and you'll see by the results that are coming through here is I get a much better set of results because I have given a much better prompt. Okay. And the nice thing with this is, I know we're not all Python engineers, is you can say, give me the answers to the questions, please. Okay. Right. There we go. Cool. Everyone happy? Everyone good? Okay. So what are let's actually do questions. Is there any questions that have come through around that?
Yes, there's a one about from Mitch asking about what AI apps are mobile friendly.
OpenAI's got their own app. I've been using it if I need to have ChatGPT on my phone. So that's one. Most of the apps are getting an AI element in them. So, you know, WhatsApp, I'm sure, is going to come up with like prompting us with our messages, like LinkedIn is at the moment. You know, you can already see swipe right to kind of finish this Gmail message that the message email you're sending in Gmail. That's all AI. Okay. So yeah.
Yeah, Outlook's got it, Engaged AI's got it, Contact Out's got it. Yeah, there's lots and lots. They just keep adding to it.
Absolutely. I think everyone's like just trying to keep up with the race. Okay. So let's finish off with two really cool softwares that I want to actually go and have a quick look at over here. So one of them is Metaview. Metaview, let me actually talk you through it. Metaview is a tool that will record your interviews and then you can question them. So there's a difference between recording and transcribing. So you get Otter, you get Fireflies, you see them popping up in your Zoom meetings, very irritating. I don't let them into my Zoom meetings because I just think they're like an arse covering exercise until I need them, of course. And pretty much what that does is records exactly what you're saying verbatim and it transcribes them. Super handy if you're doing an intake meeting with a hiring manager, etc., etc. Now, what Metaview does is Metaview will actually record the meeting, and then you can go back and ask questions of the AI. So those are the tools that I have been using and playing around with the most. Has anyone else been using Metaview? I know quite a few South Africans are using it. I'm going to quickly pop a link into the chat over here, just so that you can go and have a bit of a play with it. I know it's improving a lot. It had a bit of a problem with accents in our part of the world, but there we go. Go and have a play with it. Free trial, you get to use it, I think, on 5 or 10 meetings, and just go and see what it's like. I mean, AI tools are here to help us. They're not here to take our jobs away, so we may as well embrace them. Now, the second tool that I really like, and I think could be a real differentiator, is one called PeopleGPT. So let's go and start a new search. And what this is a tool that will help us to go and source candidates. So let's say I'm looking for a digital UI developer in, let's say I'm looking in Johannesburg with, let's say they need Adobe and SEO skills. So it's natural language. I'm not filtering. I'm not choosing keywords or anything like that. And what it does is it builds the strategy for you. It picks up all of the synonyms that go with like the UI developer. So it tells them also looking for a web developer. It's taken what would essentially be your keywords and your Boolean string. It's put into the query, what it's going to look for. And I hit run query. And what it does is it goes and it sources all of the candidates for you. So when this was first launched, I got hold of the guys. They're based out of California. And I said to them, this is rubbish, because they came out saying, this is going to do all your sourcing for you. And obviously the stuff like that kind of gets me quite worked up and upset. And I said, I don't believe it. I want a demo, and managed to jump into a demo with them. And then in those days, it was only actually sourcing across LinkedIn and GitHub. So we all know my thoughts around that, not being able to search around the whole internet. And now I think they've increased about 30 different platforms that they actually go and source on. So into the chat over there, I'm just putting the link. You can go and have a look, go and do a free trial. I haven't worked in enough roles recently, and I've been a little bit preoccupied with a little bit of a house move to play with it. But every time I go in, I was in here this morning, you can see these are the results of the people that have popped up. I can open their results. I can see I've got their email addresses. I've got their work histories, where they studied, why they popped out, what did it pick up, and what I had prompted them. And then it actually works a little bit like a source whale does, where it generates the email reach out campaigns straight from here. So yeah, very interesting tool. Interesting to see what's going to happen with it in the future. Yeah. So just to reiterate, over here, just before we finish, and we are going to open up to questions. Another one of my favorite AI tools is if you want to go and generate some memes. Lots of fun with these. So go and have a little bit of a play. But also, again, like, don't think of AI or generative AI as something that's going to like slow you down, hold you back. Like, think about what is in your role at the moment that's very mundane, very admin focused, and basically is just it's repetitive. You're not getting in front of people enough, either candidates or clients, because you are stuck doing this task repetitively over and over. So again, what is the problem that you're trying to solve, and what AI tool is out there that can fix it? I had a company out of France reach out to me. They want to do my training, but all of my training is in English, because guess what? That's what I speak. So finding an AI tool that actually does French subtitles while I'm speaking was an absolute win for me, because then I could send it to them, show them the example, and they said, okay, this works. So now in the new year, that's what we're going to be doing. I'm going to be doing the training in English, and they are picking up the French subtitles, and they can still go through my academy. So yeah. So guys, let's go and jump into questions. If you have any more questions, you're too shy to ask them now. I get it. I'm also quite shy. You can connect with me on LinkedIn and ask any questions that you have. Or else, those are my contact details. Sasha, thanks for having me here. Let's answer some questions.
Perfect. Thank you, Van. It is amazing. I wanted to actually ask is, what is your preference? So you use ChatGPT, you use Bard, you use Perplexity. We hear Bing's not your favorite. What is your favorite?
So it's a little bit like, you've got the whole Google versus Bing camp, so what do you prefer there? you know, like different people prefer different social media apps. Like I'm probably drawn more to Instagram than I am Facebook. I think it comes down to what you use the most. And to be honest with you, what I'm using the most is the paid for version of OpenAI's GPT-4. Because in there, I've got like my image creators, in DALL-E. I mean, I've got the recipe app. I mean, there's so many things I haven't even explored. There's one on data analysis. There's lots and lots, I'm just going to stop sharing here. There's lots and lots of other things that are going to keep me busy for forever. So I would probably say the paid version is where I would go to first.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting because everyone's got that the struggle. Yeah. So yes, we will make the recording available. Van's going to post it onto YouTube, and we'll post it onto our site. So you will be able to get a link to the recording if you need it. Anybody got any questions? If they are willing to unmute, or if they want to type it into the chat, they are very more than welcome. Van, I did want to bring up, so there obviously you and I have spoken about it, but GPT-0, which checks if content has been created by a machine or a human. And I do think we all need to know about these, and there's lots of them, that's not the only one, but there's lots of tools coming out checking where the content, is it authentic or is it created by a machine? So I think we need to be more and more realistic about, there's going to be more tools showing like green, this is human, and yellow, this is not a human.
True, but I think there's also a big debate. I don't know if anyone listened to Hung Lee's show on Friday. I actually listened to the replay over the weekend, and it was about candidate assessments and the use of generative AI and ChatGPT. And it was kind of like, I mean, I remember, like, let's go back 15 years ago. I was working in an IT company. We used to give the developers a test which they could go and do at home. And the question was, are they allowed to use Google? I'm like, well, if they're sitting on a client site, you know, alone, they're going to go and Google something. So yes, they should be able to use Google. So I think that people should be able to use ChatGPT now that it's available to people out there. So then it went on to like, you know, then anyone can generate a really good CV using generative AI. But I mean, for years, you could pay someone to put your CV together and make a really good CV, and it wasn't you, but that was never a problem. So for me, we need to sit together almost like as an industry and say, we need to actually make assessments that are going to be face-to-face. So we're going back to what they call recruiting vintage. So meeting with candidates face-to-face and asking the questions that you need to, and literally not asking long-winded questions if they are doing an assessment, because those can easily be typed into a generative AI tool. So responses of yes or no, or something along those lines, because it's a really interesting space. And what stuck with me was, would you rather hire someone into your team who doesn't know anything about generative AI, being like an ostrich, putting their head in the sand, it doesn't exist, or would you hire someone who's going to be so efficient because they have learned how to use generative AI really well?
Exactly. So Levine, your question about, is there a tool that can check the content? Yeah, so there's lots of them, but
I use AIcheckertool.com. I actually had quite an awkward situation recently where I was on a chat with someone who was going through my academy and the manager of the recruitment agency, and the person responded, and I could read straight away, this is ChatGPT, and I said, I like the way that you're using ChatGPT and you're embracing it. However, please remember to personalize, because I've got a very generic message thanking me for the training. And the manager jumped in swiftly and said, Susan doesn't use ChatGPT. And I took what Susan had written, put it into an AI checker tool, screenshot it, and sent it back. And I said, yes, she does.
Yes, she does.
So let's rather learn how to use it better instead of looking like an ass. Because seriously, the number of people who are now putting out LinkedIn posts and blogs and passing it off as their own material is ridiculous.
Exactly. And they're going to be caught out on doing that. So there has to be, and like you say, you need to generate the content and you need to make it into your own words. And I think people need to realize, a lot of the AI, there's thousands of tools coming out every day, guys. Like, I can't even keep up on all the tools that are out there. And there's generative AI, so the ChatGPT that generate content for you. And then there's AI that uses algorithms and natural language processing to use other models to use AI. So there's two different streams of where it goes to. Corin's also obviously saying
a link into the chat as well to, if you want to keep up to date with the tools, this is a good website, futurepedia.com.
Yeah, it grows on daily, like an hourly basis. Corin, I agree. So you've said that obviously it's, you present it in a professional way, but it's obviously still our responsibility to make sure that it's written authentically in our voice and the information is correct. I don't know what the stat is, and I don't know how they've said it, but they've said that 23% of the stats that come out of ChatGPT is incorrect.
So I always fact check. So if I'm asking for facts, to be honest with you, I'm probably going to go and do my own research and prompt it into a piece of text that I'm looking at. For example, this working with this client to build their online digital marketing strategy. I need to know what are the best data conferences in South Africa. I got very different answers going into Google and very different ones going into ChatGPT. So for that kind of hardcore, I need exactly what are the conferences because I need to put this in my report or work it into my strategy. I'm going to go to Google. So it's about knowing where to go for what.
Yeah, because even Google gives you wrong information if you Google.
Yeah.
Corin, another question. Younger generation that is not as experienced, how do you go about when using ChatGPT? Experience gives you the insight to pick up if there is incorrect information.
I would always then get someone to proofread it also or run it past somebody else. So if you are not sure and you've got like that gut feeling, then fact check it through someone else. Or what I have done before is I've taken something that like ChatGPT is generated, I've copied it, I've put it into Copilot, which is from Microsoft, and said, are these facts correct? And if it comes back and says, we don't know, we're not sure, then you know, actually, they're not correct. So you can like bounce them off against each other. Yeah,
Copilot's very cool. So if you guys do want to look at a non-generative AI, Copilot's done some very phenomenal stuff of what it's doing on the pure AI side. Yeah. But there's lots of tools out there. Guys, I don't want to keep you for too long. So if there's any more questions, please let us know. I'll thank you very much for joining, Job Crystal and Vanessa Roth. Vanessa, thank you so much for your time. We love having you, love chatting about AI. It's definitely our thing while we develop a little.
I thought I was just chatting with a bunch of mates.
It pretty much was. And enjoy the States. We're so glad you're finally down in the south. With us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think I'm actually going to head down to the beach this afternoon. I'll pick up US meetings at about 5, so we go and have a break.
Go and have a break on the beach. So again, thank you guys. We will put the recording up on YouTube. I've all got your emails. I'll send you through the link. So thanks very much. Enjoy the day.
Thanks a lot. Cheers, everyone. Bye.